The sky changed without warning. It did not crack or burn. It simply darkened as if a shadow had learned how to fly. People looked up from streets, fields, and windows. Above the clouds hung a shape too large to measure. It looked like a dragon made of metal and night. Long wings stretched across the sky. A wide head faced the planet. Soft red lights moved along its sides like slow breathing. The ship did not move. It waited. Across Earth, alarms began to sound. Screens turned on by themselves. Phones vibrated in silent hands. Fear rose fast and sharp like cold water. Many people froze. Some cried. Some held their children close. For a few long seconds the world felt ready to break. But it did not. In many cities, leaders spoke quickly and clearly. They asked people to stay calm. They asked them to help each other. Trains slowed but did not crash. Planes changed course and landed safely. Hospitals switched to backup power. The dragon-shaped ship watched all of this in silence. In a small town near a river, James stood outside a local store and looked at the sky. He was not a soldier. He was not a leader. He fixed machines for a living. His hands shook but his mind stayed clear. He thought about what fear could do if left alone. Emily came out of the store with a list in her hand. She taught at the local school. Her face was pale but her eyes were steady. People will need food, she said. And light. And a plan. James nodded. Then let's make one. They did not wait for orders. They walked through the town and knocked on doors. They spoke to neighbors. They asked who had extra food, who had generators, who needed help. Some people were scared to answer at first. But when they saw others standing together, they stepped outside. The power went out an hour later. The town fell into darkness but not into chaos. People used candles and flashlights. Someone opened the community hall. Another person brought blankets. A farmer shared fuel. A baker brought bread that would go bad by morning. Above them all, the dragon ship watched. Inside the ship, no sound echoed. No voices rose. The watchers were old and patient. They had seen many worlds. They knew the signs of collapse. Panic. Screams. Violence. They waited for these signs like hunters waiting for blood. Instead, they saw hands reaching out. Their sensors moved across cities and towns. They recorded heartbeats, voices, movement. They searched for fear sounds. They found fear, yes, but it did not rule. Fear was spoken of. Fear was held. Then it was placed aside. In one city, a man gave his only phone charger to a stranger. In another, doctors stayed long hours without rest. In many places, people shared food with those they had never met. The ship's systems paused more than once to recheck the data. This was not expected. Back in the small town, Emily sat on the steps of the community hall. Children slept inside, wrapped in coats. James adjusted a generator outside, keeping the lights on low to save fuel. "Do you think they can see us?" Emily asked, looking up. James followed her gaze. The dragon was still there, vast and silent. "I think they can see everything," he said. Emily nodded. "Then I hope they see this." The night passed slowly. The ship did nothing. No beams fell. No fire came. People waited, but they did not hide. Some stood outside and looked up. Others slept when they could. The fear did not vanish, but it softened, shaped by purpose. Inside the dragon ship, the watchers studied human faces on their screens. They expected wide eyes and open mouths. They expected cries and broken order. Instead, they saw calm words. They saw tired smiles. They saw plans written on paper by candlelight. One watcher focused on James and Emily. Not because they were special, but because they were common. They were not leaders of armies or states. They were helpers. Builders of small order in a large unknown. The watcher noted something new. Humans did not wait for fear to leave. They moved while fear stayed. As dawn neared, the dragon ship shifted slightly. The movement was small, but people noticed. Many held their breath. James stopped working. Emily stood and took his hand. Nothing happened. The ship settled again, quiet as before. On Earth, the sun began to rise. Light touched the edges of the ship, painting it gold for a moment. People looked up and saw not a monster, but a question hanging in the sky. The dragon waited for screams. Earth answered with care. The second day began with light, but not with calm. The dragon-shaped ship moved for the first time since its arrival. Its great wings folded slightly. Lines along its body began to glow. The sky above many cities shimmered, as if heat passed through the air. Then the fire signs appeared. High above the clouds, bright lines burned across the sky. They did not fall. They did not strike the ground. They twisted and curved like slow lightning made of flame. The colors were deep red and white. The shapes were sharp and strong. Anyone who saw them felt a tight grip in the chest. People stopped and stared. Some thought it was an attack that had missed. Some thought it was a warning. Old fears rose again. Memories of war, stories of invasion, and images of destruction filled many minds. Soldiers were placed on alert. Weapons were prepared but not fired. Leaders watched the sky and waited. The dragon expected this moment. Inside the ship, the watchers studied Earth closely. On many worlds, this was the point of collapse. Fire signs usually brought anger. Ships were launched. Missiles followed. Panic turned into violence. The watchers had seen it again and again. They waited for Earth to do the same. On the ground, fear returned, but something else rose with it. In a radio station on the edge of a large city, William adjusted his headset with shaking hands. He was not famous. He was a late-night radio host who spoke to truck drivers and night workers. That morning, the station manager told him to stay on air. "People need a voice," the manager said. "Make it a calm one." William swallowed and nodded. When the fire signs filled the sky, calls flooded in. People shouted. People cried. People asked what to do. William listened. He took a breath. Then he spoke slowly and clearly. "We see the lights," he said. "We see the fire signs. We are still here. We are still listening." His voice traveled across the city, through cars and homes, through fear and doubt. "We do not know what they want," he continued. "But we know who we are. We help each other. We stay calm. We choose our words." The dragon ship recorded the broadcast. The watchers noted the tone. No threat. No challenge. Only steady sound. In another building across town, Anna sat in front of several screens. She worked as a language helper for emergency services. When the dragon appeared, she was asked to stay. Now she watched William's words appear as text. "They will hear us," she said softly. "But only if we speak clearly." Anna began to translate. She took William's message and turned it into simple phrases. Peaceful phrases. She sent them to other stations, other countries, other languages. English became Spanish. Spanish became Arabic. Arabic became French. The words changed shape but not meaning. "We are here. We choose calm. We do not attack. We want to understand." Across the world, people picked up the message. Some wrote it on signs. Some sent it through social networks. Some spoke it aloud from rooftops and streets. In one city, a group stood in a park holding white cloths. In another, a choir sang softly into the air. In many places, phones were lifted to the sky, screens glowing with words of peace. Above it all, the dragon ship watched. The fire signs faded slowly. They left no smoke. No heat touched the ground. The watchers waited for weapons to rise. They did not. Sensors showed missiles still in their silos. Jets remained grounded. Armies stood ready but still. The data did not match old records. The watchers paused their systems and checked again. They listened more closely. The radio signals reached the ship in waves. Human voices filled the silent halls. Not cries. Not threats. Messages. Clear and repeated. Peace. Come. Willingness to speak. One watcher focused on William's broadcast. The steady rhythm of his voice was unusual. Fear was present, but it did not control his words. Another watcher studied Anna's translations. The speed and care impressed them. The message was not for one group. It was for all. The dragon ship slowed its internal processes. For the first time, it stopped preparing the next test. On Earth, people noticed the change. The fire signs were gone. The ship did not move. Hours passed without new threats. Some dared to hope. Others stayed cautious. William stayed on air, speaking gently, answering calls, reminding people to breathe. Anna worked until her eyes burned. She drank cold coffee and kept typing. When she paused, she looked up at the sky through a small window. "Please listen," she whispered. Inside the ship, the watchers made a rare choice. They opened a listening channel fully. They let the human signals flow without filters. Music mixed with speech. Laughter mixed with prayer. Fear mixed with hope. The dragon did not understand every word. But it understood the tone. The ship did not answer. It did not send fire. It did not leave. It simply remained, silent and still, as if thinking. On Earth, night fell again. The sky was clear. Stars shone around the great shape above. People stood outside and spoke softly. No one cheered. No one attacked. The dragon paused. And it listened. The third test did not come with fire or light in the sky. It came quietly. Across several cities, power systems failed at the same moment. Streets went dark. Buildings lost their glow. Elevators stopped between floors. Screens went black. For a heartbeat, the world felt blind. People froze. The dragon-shaped ship hung above the planet, silent and watching. Inside it, the watchers observed carefully. This test was simple. Remove light. Remove comfort. Wait for fear to turn into disorder. In many past worlds, this was enough. In one large city, Michael felt the lights die while he was in his apartment kitchen. The hum of the fridge stopped. The room fell into shadow. He stood still, listening. From outside came voices, not screams but questions. He picked up a flashlight and stepped into the hallway. Doors opened along the corridor. Neighbors looked at one another with worry and hope mixed together. "Power's out," someone said. Michael nodded. "Then we check on people." Michael worked as a line repair worker. He knew wires, poles, and old systems. He also knew that waiting alone made fear grow. He told his neighbors to grab candles and warm clothes. Together they moved down the stairs and into the street. The city looked different in the dark. Without lights, the sky seemed larger. The dragon ship was clear and sharp above them, a shadow among stars. Michael did not look at it for long. He focused on the street. A traffic light had gone dead. Cars slowed and stopped. Drivers stepped out and spoke to one another. No horns blared. People waved others through. Someone used a flashlight to guide traffic. Michael walked toward a nearby power station. Along the way, more people joined him. Some brought tools. Some brought food. No one was asked to leave. At the station, a small fire flickered near a breaker panel. It was not dangerous yet, but it could be. Michael knelt down and studied the lines. He spoke calmly, telling others what to hold and what to move. "Not too fast," he said. "We do this right." In another part of the city, Lucy stood in front of a community center as the lights went out. She had been preparing food for families earlier that day. When the power died, she did not stop. She opened the doors wide. "Come inside," she called. "We have water and space." People arrived in small groups. Parents with children. Elderly neighbors. A man with a broken leg. Lucy handed out bottles of water. She lit candles and placed them safely along the walls. She asked for volunteers and hands went up. They set up sleeping areas. They shared food without arguing over amounts. Lucy moved through the room, checking faces, offering quiet words. Outside, the city remained dark but not wild. The dragon watched from above. Sensors tracked movement patterns. The watchers expected to see crowds rushing, stores breaking, signals of conflict. Instead, the data showed steady flow. People gathered in safe places. Movement slowed. Clusters formed around help, not harm. In another city far away, the same story played out. In the dark, strangers spoke. In the quiet, plans were made. People used old radios, paper notes, and simple signs. Power was gone, but purpose was not. Michael wiped sweat from his face as the breaker clicked back into place. Lights did not return yet, but the danger had passed. He stood and smiled at the people around him. "We'll get it back," he said. "Together." Lucy sat down for a moment, tired but steady. A child fell asleep against her arm. She looked around the shelter and saw calm faces lit by candlelight. "This is enough for now," she thought. Inside the dragon ship, the watchers reviewed the results. Lines of data filled their displays. Disorder levels remained low. Cooperation signals rose. Emotional spikes appeared, but they settled quickly. One watcher compared this test to older records. The difference was clear. Darkness had not brought chaos. It had brought connection. The ship adjusted its position slightly, unseen by most. The test was supposed to weaken human structure. Instead, it revealed hidden strength. On Earth, the night passed slowly. Some lights returned in small areas. Cheers rose, soft and brief. Others stayed dark, but calm remained. Michael walked home as the first streetlight flickered back to life. Lucy watched the sun rise through a dusty window. People stretched, shared food, and prepared for another day. Above them, the dragon ship remained still. It had expected collapse. It recorded order. Morning came with a low sound in the sky. It was not thunder. It was not wind. It was deep and slow, like a breath held too long and then released. People looked up and saw the dragon-shaped ship change again. From its center, something moved. A long shape slid down toward the land. It was smooth and dark, like a piece of the night itself. Lights glowed along its sides, soft and steady. The object slowed as it reached open ground near a wide field, far from cities and roads. It stopped a few feet above the earth. The probe waited. Across the world, silence spread. Soldiers watched through scopes. Leaders spoke in low voices. Fingers rested near buttons but did not press. The dragon expected this moment to break the pattern. When land was touched, fear usually turns sharp. Inside the ship, the watchers focused all attention on the field. Their systems scanned the air, the soil, the hearts nearby. They waited for signs of attack. None came. From the edge of the field, two small figures stepped forward. Daniel walked first. His hands were open, palms visible. He had no weapon. He had a bag slung over his shoulder. Beside him walked Grace, holding a small case and a simple cloth. People behind them whispered, but no one stopped them. Daniel's heart beat fast but steady. He felt the weight of the sky above him. The probe hovered, silent and still. Its surface reflected light and shadow but no face. Grace took a slow breath. "We go together," she said quietly. They walked until the grass ended and bare soil began. They stopped at a respectful distance and waited. The probe did not move. Daniel set his bag down and stepped back. He knelt and opened it slowly. Inside was food. Bread. Fruit. Simple things. He placed them on the ground and stepped away. Grace opened her case. Inside was a small speaker and an old instrument. She pressed a button and soft music flowed into the air. It was calm and slow, made by human hands long before the dragon arrived. The sound carried across the field. The probe adjusted slightly. Small lights flickered along its surface. Inside the dragon ship, the watchers recorded every detail. No threat gestures. No raised voices. Only offering. Daniel spoke, his voice clear but gentle. "We come in peace," he said. "We bring what we can share." Grace held up the cloth. It was white, with a simple symbol drawn by children. She laid it beside the food. Around the field people watched. Some cried quietly. Some held hands. No one ran. The probe extended thin sensors, slow and careful. They scanned the air, the gifts, the two humans. Heart rates were high but even. Eye movement showed fear but also trust. The watchers saw something rare. Fear did not hide. It stood in the open and did not strike. Daniel and Grace waited. Minutes passed. The sun climbed higher. The probe lowered slightly, close enough to stir the grass. Dust lifted and settled again. Grace stopped the music and spoke softly. "We are here." The probe recorded their faces. Lines of worry. Lines of hope. No masks. No armor. Inside the ship, a watcher paused the test. This step usually ended in violence on other worlds. Gifts were taken as weakness. Calm was seen as delay before attack. But Earth did not follow the pattern. The probe retracted its sensors. It did not take the food. It did not touch the cloth. It rose a little and hovered as if thinking. Daniel felt his knees shake but he stayed standing. Grace reached for his hand. He took it. Behind them, a child began to hum the same tune that had played earlier. Others joined softly. The probe recorded sound, motion, and the steady rhythm of human hearts. The data formed a picture the watchers had not seen before. This was not surrender. This was choice. After a long moment, the probe rose higher. Slowly it moved back toward the sky. No weapon fired. No warning sounded. People did not chase it. They watched in silence. As the probe returned to the dragon ship, the field remained untouched. The food stayed on the ground. The music faded into memory. Daniel and Grace turned back toward the waiting crowd. Relief washed over them, heavy and warm. People embraced them, not as heroes, but as neighbors who had taken a step together. Above them the dragon ship remained. It had waited for attack. It had received welcome. The dragon-shaped ship grew quiet in a way Earth could feel. It no longer tested. It no longer searched for weakness. Inside its vast body, the watchers gathered their records and began the final report. Light flowed across their walls as memories played again. Fire signs in the sky. Calm voices on the radio. Cities helping in the dark. Open hands in a wide field. Steady hearts. Honest eyes. One watcher spoke, slow and clear. Fear was present. Another answered, fear did not rule. Images shifted. Human faces appeared, tired but firm. Hands passed food. Voices shared plans. No command forced this. No single leader shaped it. A third watcher finished the thought. Choice ruled. The message was prepared for distant kin far beyond this system. It carried data, images, sound, and meaning. It told of a species that felt fear but did not obey it. A species that met power with calm and danger with care. Earth was given a mark. Not weak. Not hostile. Peaceful and strong. The decision was final. The dragon ship began to change course. Its wings folded inward. Lights dimmed along its sides. No flames gathered. No energy built. It prepared to leave as it had arrived, without harm. On Earth the night passed quietly. People slept in homes, shelters, and open places. Dreams came and went. Some were troubled. Some were hopeful. As dawn approached, the sky lightened. Stars faded one by one. The dragon ship still hung above the world, dark against the pale blue. Then it moved. At first it was slow, almost gentle. The great shape lifted higher, pulling away from the planet. No sound followed. No wind rushed. Birds did not scatter. The air remained still. People noticed. On rooftops, in fields, on city streets, faces turned upward. James stood outside his home with Emily, watching the shape rise. Michael paused on his way to work. Lucy stepped out of the shelter with others beside her. William ended his broadcast with quiet thanks. Anna closed her laptop and looked up through tired eyes. Daniel and Grace stood in the same field as before. The gifts were gone now, taken by the wind and time. Only flattened grass remained. The dragon ship climbed higher until it was just a dark shape against the brightening sky. Then it shifted, turning away from Earth. No farewell was spoken. But something was felt. As the sun broke the horizon, light touched the world. Buildings glowed. Rivers shone. Faces warmed. The dragon ship slipped into the distance and vanished as if it had never been there. For a long moment no one spoke. Then someone smiled. The smile spread. Not because danger had come and gone, but because something had been proven. People looked at one another with a quiet pride. They had been seen. They had been measured. They had chosen. Life did not change all at once. Work still waited. Problems remained. Fear would return again someday. But the memory stayed. Above Earth, the sky was empty and blue. Below it, people stood in the sunrise, knowing that when fear was expected, they had answered with peace.